So if you're seeing me for the first time, if you're hearing this voice for the first time, as always, my name is Eugene, and I am a broadcast journalist, and I made Rwanda my home for the last, cumulatively, almost 17 years. I'm originally from Kenya, but I moved to Rwanda in 2008, at a time when I was just finishing college, I was studying journalism. And when I told my family that I was moving to Rwanda, gotten a job there, everything they knew about Rwanda that time was the tragedy of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. There was no other story that anybody else knew about Rwanda. In fact, there were even sometimes when your parent is threatening to beat you up, they will tell you Rwanda. And when I grew up, I got to understand what they meant. That they would give you a beating, a thorough beating, to the level of what happened, sadly, in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. Over the years, I've witnessed Rwanda transform, right in my eyes. I've seen it all. So everything I'll be saying here as your Masters of Ceremony and the moderator is something I've witnessed personally. So when I moved to Rwanda, I went to work for a radio station called Contact FM. It was among the first private radios. And throughout that period, I stayed in Rwanda until 2019. And I served in different capacities, including getting the role of the country manager of CNBC Africa and Forbes Africa. And I came back to Kenya to launch from the scratch a popular TV station here called TV47. And since Rwanda is home, I kept hearing the voice Anangwe. Actually, they call me Mukisha these days. And Ushen. We need you back. So I went back. And over the times, I've driven conversations around Pan-Africanism. And these conversations are very dear to my heart. And so today is a moment of reflection for us to try and look back at 30 years since the tragedy, since the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis. We see a transformed nation that has risen from the ashes. But a lot of us do not know the foundation of this. What led to this? What happened? What was the turn of events? We'll also ask the tough questions right here. And I want us to be able to leave this room refreshed, educated, to a point where we are able to fully understand when we say never again genocide. We mean it deep from our hearts. And so, in this program, I want us to mention some housekeeping rules. If you need to relieve yourself, there is an exit. When you take that exit, please take your right turn, and you'll be able to see the gents and the ladies. Later on, we'll have refreshments, and it's also going to be taking place outside. When you exit, it's going to be on the right, but at